Today we're going to learn how to graph linear functions. What's the difference between a function and an equation? They're the same thing. The only difference, instead of saying y equals mx plus b, we give it a function name, like f of x equals mx plus b. Are they the exact same thing? Yes. Remember that whatever is here is the function name. The m is still the slope. The b is the y-intercept. All right, let's do the first one. To graph any function, you need an m and a... All right, so what is the slope of this one? 5 over 1. What is the y-intercept? So go to the y-axis, put a dot on 1, go up 5, right 1. How else could I get to another dot? Down 5, left 1. Okay, use your straight edge. Now, the only thing different today is because this has a function name. What is this function's name? F. You're going to label your graph F. All right, let's go do the next one. I need an m and a b. What is the m of this function? Negative 6 over 1. What is the y-intercept? So I go to the y-axis to negative 2. I go down 6, right 1. Or I could have gone up 6, left 1. Connect your dots. What am I going to name this function? F. You name it whatever the function's name is. All right, you already know how to do this next part as well, so I'm not going to do all of them. I want to read this to you, and I want you to think about what it says. It says, find the value of x, so that the function has the given value. So you have g of x equals negative x plus 5, and you want to solve for 2. Now, I want y'all to think about it. You have two options. You're either going to plug 2 in for x, or you're going to plug 2 in for the function. Now, I want you to read what this said again. What did that say? If it says find x, do you think I'm going to plug that 2 in for x or plug it in for the function? If it says find x, you don't plug in for x. You plug in for the function. Does that make sense? So you would simply put 2 in this spot. So 2 equals negative x plus 5, and you're going to find x. So you solve it. How do I get rid of the 5? Minus 5. 2 minus 5 is negative 3 equals negative x. I can't have a negative x, so I divide by negative 1, and I get x is equal to 3. Again, to memorize which one you plug in for. If it says find x, then don't plug in for x. Plug in for the function. All right, let's go do this one. What am I plugging in? Negative 13 for the function. So negative 13 equals 4x plus 1. All right, I want to get x by itself, so I need to get rid of the 4 and the 1. Which one's got to go first? Because it's the constant, so I subtract 1. I get negative 14 equals 4x. Okay, how do I get rid of the 4? Divide by 4. And x is equal to, and I can just simplify that fraction, negative 7/2. Could I put it as a decimal? Or negative 3.5? All right, are y'all good on that part? Now we're going to skip to this part. Now this part says evaluate the function when x is equal to. So what am I going to plug in for now? We're going to plug in for x because it says x equals. Now how many numbers do they want you to plug in? That means you have 3 separate problems in one. So on the first one, I would do 4 times negative 3 minus 3. Then I would do 4 times 0 minus 3. Then I would do 4 times 2 minus 3. Or I could simply use my y equals button in my calculator. Yes? And then go to the table. So everybody go to y equals. Type in 4x minus 3. And go to the table. I am looking for x is negative 3. So I scroll and I find when x is negative 3. Did everybody find it? What is y? Negative 15. That's my first answer. The next one they wanted me to do was when x is, everybody look, 0. So when x is 0, what is y? And the last one, when x is 2, y is 5. So you'll have 3 answers. All right, I want y'all to do this one on your own. Did everybody get the answers I got? Check your answers with mine. How did we do? Good? Questions? All right, we're not going to do the bottom ones, but we're going to talk about it. This says find the value of x. So what would I plug 1 in for? The function. So I would do, I'm not going to solve it, 1 equals negative x plus 8, and then I would solve for x because it said find x. Are y'all good with the 2 differences? Do y'all understand when you're plugging in for the function or when you're plugging in for x? Okay, flip to the back. This is the new part. We are now going to learn why we label functions and name them. It wants us to graph the function, graph this function. How many functions are we going to graph? And then it wants us to give 2 comparisons of the graphs. This is called a parent function. It's basically y equals x. So we're going to go graph that first. To graph it, I need an m and a b. What's the slope? Come on, guys, spit it out. Fast. What's the slope? Thank you. 1 over 1. What's the y-intercept? All right, so everybody go to the first graph to 0, 0, put a dot. Go up 1 and right 1. You could also go down 1, left 1. Good. Connect your dots. And then you're going to name this function what? F. Which one did we just graph? We graphed this one. Now we're going to graph this function. What is its name? I want y'all to look at the difference between the two functions. This is f of x equals x. This is g of x equals x plus 3. What did they do to this parent function? What did they do to it? They added 3. They added a y-intercept, yes? Tell me about their slopes. They're the same. So what is this going to look like? Parallel lines. All right, let's go graph this one. I need an m and a b. The m is 1 over 1. The b is 3. So go to 3, go up 1, right 1. Label it G. Are we finished with this one? We now have to give 2 comparisons. Y'all already told me one. Y'all told me they are parallel lines. So I would say G is parallel to F. And this is how you write parallel. Could I put F as parallel to G? It's the same thing. The next thing you're going to tell me is how did the graph change from the parent function? Here's the parent function. What did they do to this parent function? They added 3. So what did it do to the line? It shifted it up 3. So I would say G is up 3. And that is your 2 comparisons. Easy? All right, this one. The first thing I'm going to graph, how many lines do I need? I need my parent function, so it's this one. Go graph it. So 0, 0, up 1, right 1. Label it function F. Now we need to graph function H. I need an M and a B. What's the M? What's the B? So I go to the graph to -3, I put a dot. I'm going to go up to right 1. I'm going to label this line H. Okay, we need 2 comparisons. Let's first talk about it. When we added 3 over here, what did it do? It shifted it. What do you think would happen when we went -3? It shifted down. Did the y-intercept shift down 3? Now, what else did they change? The slope. This slope was 1. This slope was, tell me about it. What happened when you make the slope bigger? Tell me about the slopes. If I was to get on a roof of a house, it became steeper. So I would say H is steeper. What made it steeper was making the slope bigger. Yes? Okay, then you have two options here. You could say they both have positive slopes, or you could say H is down 3. Totally up to you. You could say both positive slopes. I gave 3 comparisons. You only need how many? 2. Are y'all good with what happened? The point of this is that you understand when you change the y-intercept, it shifts it up and down. When you change the slope, it makes it steeper or less steep. Make sense? Okay, go to the bottom. Let's do a word problem. The gray wolf population in central Idaho was monitored over several years of a project aimed at boosting the number of wolves. The number of wolves can be modeled by this function, where X is the number of years since 2005. So go to the X-axis. What are we going to label it? Number of years since 2005. And then what are we going to name the Y-axis? What is this function even showing? The number of wolves. It wants us to graph the function. Now, I know how to graph with slope and y-intercept, but look at the slope. What is it? 37 over. Look at the y-axis. Is that going to be hard to graph? Rise 37 over 1 if it's counting by tens. So do you think I should use my calculator? Let's go to y equals. Type in 37x plus 7. Go where now? Go where? To the table. All right. I need my first dot is going to be at 0, which I already knew that because the y-intercept is 7. So I put a dot. My next dot is going to be at 144. My next dot would be at 281, but that doesn't fit on the graph, so I have to stop. Now, would this be a line with 2 arrows, or would it be a ray? Why? My graph can't go this way because there's no such thing as negative wolves or negative years. Yes? So my graph is going to start at the y-intercept and just keep going up. Now it wants us to identify the domain and the range. Who remembers what domain is? X is. So what is the furthest left the x-axis is going? X-axis. This dot, y'all agree it's this dot? Where am I at on the x-axis? So x is something to 0. All of the other ones are going to the right. What does that mean? Are they touching 0? Yes. So it's greater than or equal to 0. All right, what is range? All right, so go to the y-axis. What is the lowest it goes? Right here. Where am I at? 7. So y is something to 7. It's going up. So up means greater than or equal to. Okay, you are going to do 1 through 21 for sure, all of them. So you're going to do 1 through 21. Let's look at 1 through 9. 1 through 9 says, evaluate the function when x equals -3, 0, and 2. So am I plugging in for x or am I plugging in for the function? I'm plugging in for x because it says x equals. You may simply use your y equals button though. How many answers are you going to have? 3, because they want the value when x is equal to those 3 numbers. Okay, look at 13 through 21. It says find x. Now you plug in for the function. Plug in for function. And then solve for x. Now don't just write the equation. You better solve for x, okay? Because it says find x. So your answer should say x equals 5 or whatever. Okay, any questions on those parts? For the rest of the paper, you are only going to do the evens. For the rest of the paper. So at the top, you're doing all of them. For the rest of the paper, you're only doing the, and then you're going to provide 2 comparisons. So you're going to do 26, 28, 30, 32 on here. I'm going to do 25 with you right now to show you what I expect. So go to number 25. Look at them. What is one comparison I could say? So I would write G is parallel to F. What's the other one I would say? G is how much up? G is 3, or up 3. Those are 2 comparisons. Are we good with that? Okay, go to 29. I'm going to do this one with you. I need 2 comparisons. They're both at the y-intercept of 0, right? So that doesn't help me. Which one is steeper? So I'd say F is steeper. Tell me about their slopes. Is one positive, one negative? Are they both positive? Are they both negative? What are they? Both positive slopes. So that's 2 comparisons. If you only give 1 comparison, then you missed a whole question. Okay? Flip to the back. Again, you're just going to do the evens. Now on 40, you're going to do all parts of it, but just 40. Okay? Look at 34 through 39. What did I say to do? I said graph g of x and, so how many graphs are you going to have? I'm going to do 35 with you. To graph f of x, it's right here. It's the parent function. So you start at 0, 0, you go up 1, right 1. And I'm going to label this F. I'm now going to graph g of x by going to the y-intercept of -3 and going up 1, right 1. I'm going to label it G. So I did the first part. I graphed them. Now what does it say to do? Give 2 comparisons. So what's the first thing I would say? F is parallel to G. What's the next one I would say? G is down 2. Do y'all understand the directions? Got it? Okay, you may get started.